if I fall, right, I'm going to fall forward. I'm never going to fall backwards. But think about this. If you fall forward flat on your face, you're ahead of where you started.
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Relentless Project. How are we doing this today? We have the Savage gentleman, but
it is me.
He's stepping out into different roles now. So
I'm coming back home.
Coming back home. We'll call it the one with Shane Chojnacki.
Exactly. Well said, sir. Well said.
Chojnacki. So if you've tuned in, you've known we've had Savage here before, but we're going to talk about some other things today. You know, you got some cool things coming up, which
definitely
you've kind of hinted at. You've texted me about some Magic Mike-like things that we'll get into. But before that, I saw you come in with what are the kids calling it? A man bag.
Man bag, bro. Don't judge me.
No, I'm not. But what's this man bag about?
This man bag right here, bro.
A Nutella.
Listen.
Look at this.
When you got it, flaunt it.
What's the story behind you really like Nutella?
I love Nutella. Well, obviously, you know the Butterfinger story.
Yeah.
Well, they are owned by the same company now. When I was in France, they eat crepes with Nutella on it, and they thought it would be appropriate to send this to me for National Nutella Day.
When's National? There's a day. When's National Nutella Day?
February 5th.
Well, look at that. In honor of National Nutella Day, we have the Nutella designer man bag, courtesy of the Savage. You the first one rocking that?
Bro, this is
I've never seen that.
This is one of one. This is one of one. Made for the Savage himself.
Shit. We need I want one.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
See what you can do.
I know somebody.
We're gonna put this right here with me. I'm gonna just
perfect. Oh,
touch it when I'm feeling
disappear?
nervous. Yeah, no, I won't disappear. I'm sure you got some Savage things in there.
Yes.
So before, we kind of talked about, your wrestling career.
Yeah.
We talked about, you were owning a gym at that point. A lot of stuff happened with that. What we can get into, I'd appreciate it, because I feel like there's a lot of teachable moments in
very much
something like that.
Life has turned in a matter of months, right?
Yeah. I don't even think it was a year since you've been on here. And so much has changed.
My life's freaking whirlwind, bro.
So, fuck it, let's just get into the mix. What happened with the gym stuff? Like, you were hitting the gym hard, and then what are you doing now, actually? What are the things you're focusing on in your career now that things have changed?
I mean, focus on me personally right now. Mentally, spiritually, first and foremost. Because if I can't complete myself, I'm not a whole human, right? How can I help other people? And as a personal trainer, as a coach, as a mentor, right? Like, those people rely on me to be me. And if I can't be me, how can I help them?
You can't pour from a half glass. You can't fill from a half glass, because a lot of people try to pour from a half glass.
Right. So, exactly.
No, that's a good point. What are some projects you got in the works?
So I got a lot of things going on. So you talked about, having a very full cup. I am very thankful to have an abundance to where mine's overflowing right now. I got some projects going on. Like, we're gonna get into everything. We just bullet point everything right now for everyone.
We'll go, yeah.
Bro, I'm gonna be Magic Mike. I'm gonna be Sagat at the biggest Comic-Con in the world. I'm coming back out of retirement. I'm doing professional fighting. I'm running my own wrestling show. And on top of that, I'm still a personal trainer and launching my online platform.
Shit, I should have taken notes. What's the Magic Mike like? So you get invited to a dance, like what?
Yeah.
Or is it an actual show?
Oh, it's a full-on live event.
Where's this at? Are there tickets available? Asking for a friend.
For a friend.
Yeah.
Purely for research purposes only.
Yeah.
It's actually sold out.
You got media passes for a friend?
I might be able to get something.
All right. Wink, wink.
But it's at the Thunderbird Music Hall in Lawrenceville.
Dude, I fucking love that venue.
And the stage is going to be so dope. I got a badass partner. One of my boys hit me up, actually. He was like, hey, my friend has this thing going on. I don't know if you'd be interested. He didn't even know that I danced. Most people don't know that I dance.
Let's add that to the list.
You know, I'm just living this bucket life lifestyle right now. I'm trying to do everything and anything and everything that I possibly can.
Leave no stone unturned.
Correct. And that's where I'm at right now. But she reached out and was like, hey, I got this idea. Met her and I vibed, realized how similar the dance world and the wrestling world was. So we just hit it off immediately, started practicing, put a whole routine together on like the first day. And now we've been practicing, you know, for the upcoming weeks. We got a show. It's literally in 2 weeks, day after Valentine's Day. And it's going to be a little risque, if you will.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what made you want to like venture into something different like this? Because you said they're similar, but they're not.
They're so different. Like, so similar in the structure basis to how you perform and the audience aspect and the entertainment aspect, just the mindset behind it. But they're entirely different mediums in which I'm learning, right? Like, I used to go to the club every night. I'd shake my groove thing, cut a rug, you know, the whole thing. I'd hit them with all the things,
that's my go-to.
right? But then I was like, oh, this is professional.
So do you guys have like choreographers involved?
Oh, we got it. No, we did it all ourselves. And, you know, I lent my expertise from the professional wrestling world. She lent her from professional dancing. We combined the best of both worlds. And we got this number that's set, bro. It's going to light that stage on fire.
So is this something that Savage is going to be a part of, or Shane going to be a part of?
It's going to be both sides. It's going to be the savage and the gentleman. But I'm really doing it just so I can make Channing Tatum proud.
Yeah. Maybe even like a guest appearance. We'll see.
We'll see what we can do.
Dope. So okay, that's cool. And then you said you were running your own wrestling show. Is that new?
So it's called Wrestle Rex. I now have part in, you know, helping everything take off the ground. We changed venues. We're at the City Winery right now. That comes out February 8th. I'm main eventing against EC3. It's going to be crazy. Our pre-sales are already higher than they have ever been for any of the other shows for the past years. Sam Adonis runs it.
Okay.
And now I'm backstage helping everything get fine-tuned because he's in Texas, so I'm in Pittsburgh. So I'm helping everything out, you know, from the logistical standpoint.
So how did that opportunity come about? I mean, I know you're in the wrestling world.
Mm-hmm.
What pushes you to venture into kind of putting one on and helping put one on?
Well, I actually ran a couple on my own 100%. You know, previously I ran 2 events, so I've already had experience. But I was just like, man, I'm a wrestler. I could do this. I could put my own show on. I know people would have got a ring. I know that all the wrestlers, call TV talent, fly to plane, you know, or get them on a plane, fly them up here, ready to go. Boom, easy. Not as easy as it looks. There are so many intricacies that go into running an event. And that's one thing that I really liked how Sam runs his. He's very methodical into the production side of things. And I know where my strengths are, and him and I complement each other very well whenever we're making this. So when we were booking the matches, getting everything down, and just even down to the sponsorships, bringing everyone in that is like-minded.
There's a lot of industries involved in putting together a show. You said, the production side.
Correct.
The marketing side, the talent acquisition side. You know, just because you can market a show doesn't mean you can get the right people to be in the show.
Correct.
You know, and I've kind of like been behind the scenes on a lot of hype promotions and stuff, and everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
And it kind of, when you're there as a fan, kind of looks the same, and you have this expectation, and if that expectation isn't met, that's when you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But if it's met, you're not like, man, this was done very well. It's just like, oh, this is what I expected.
That's what you should expect,
yeah,
right?
But there's
like,
so many things involved.
so many moving parts. And like there's a whole team of us, right? Like there's like 8 of us that actually are making this happen, right? Like from the guys who are just running around flying the town, right? Like I just got a message 2 days ago. It was like, oh, look, I see your face on this telephone pole, right? But like stuff like that, just getting the word out. Every possible route. We got an interview with One Berg coming up, you know, just like
Huge.
we're doing with you,
Yeah,
right?
huge.
And just getting everything out there, getting the word out. And like I said, we're at a new venue. We're at City Winery, and they were gracious enough to host us. And that venue is so badass.
Dude, I saw the wildlife there. Like band. And
Yeah.
You kind of go into this bar.
Right.
And then
You have no
go to this
idea.
back door, and then you go down the stairs, and there's like decks there where you can like stand and watch, and then
Yep.
the stage is downstairs, like
The
a little
balcony,
cave,
yeah.
balcony.
Yes.
And then there's that bar around it. It's a cool setup. I've been trying to get Jack. I've been telling Jack Wilder, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you should get a show here.
Absolutely. Jack would thrive down there.
That's the type of venue I feel he'd like really excel.
And it's
in.
like they got that glass wall with all the old oak barrels in it. Freaking dope.
it's definitely sweet.
And the lighting's on point too.
So, well, the lighting, you gotta have a fog machine. You gotta have a fog machine.
But you always got a fog machine.
And then Russell Rex as well. How is that name been around? I'm a big marketing guy. I like
that name has been around because the first inclination of this company started at the Rex Theater. And then, years ago, it burnt down. It was rebuilt, renamed Enclave. That partnership dissolved. And now we're starting our own thing. Brand new venue, brand new talent. Not doing anything like every other company. Dude, there's like 20 wrestling companies in Pittsburgh. It's ridiculous.
Really?
It's so oversaturated and so poorly done that we want to set ourselves above the rest.
I've seen now I see a lot of like shows. Ever since I met you, I feel like Instagram's been like shooting all these
Hey,
like
look at this algorithm.
yeah, and I'm like, that's crazy. And if you're not in it, you don't realize how many promotions there are.
Correct.
And the same with like MMA. The local one is the local one, and then
Yep.
you see 10, 15 other local fighting promotions that just don't really break that
And you're
barrier.
like, where did you, how? What
Yeah.
gives you the right to be in this space? And it's just because like, oh, I know people. I can run an event. That was me. I did that, right? But I also came out of the gates swinging. I put the top guys on notice. And that's what Sam noticed about me. He was like, bro, you draw, you sell tickets, marketing. Like, you understand this from a different standpoint. And that's whenever you excel in the business.
And what's your intention on doing this thing? You said you're trying to elevate the wrestling thing, but how does that trickle down to the talent that comes in and everyone involved in the show?
That puts everyone on a bigger pedestal and a bigger platform to be seen, to be noticed, to be heard. Because what we're trying to do again is elevate not just wrestling in Pittsburgh, but wrestling as a whole. Showcase that there's still a side of this that is purely entertainment, because just like as well as anyone else in the MMA world, everyone's like, oh, bro, we should have just put him in a Kimura, or why didn't he just throw the right hand, right? You got the armchair quarterbacks, just like wrestling, calling the shots, and they want to go sit there and they want to think they know what's going to happen next. And we're changing that stigma to where it's like, you have no idea what we're going to do.
Dude, I like wrestling. I feel when I was a kid, it was like the biggest. Everyone watched it, adults,
Right.
teens, kids.
And how many characters were there, right? That was the fun shit.
I think it's coming back.
Exactly.
I was talking to Lil Bro, shout out Ice. And he was talking about how Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic, is kind of embodying Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
And like they're bringing that like attitude era back.
Dude,
if that shit comes
they
back,
built
bro,
a
I'll
whole
watch it.
faction around him. Like, he had his whole crew and everyone had the gold. Everyone in the company or in his crew had gold.
And then they brought Kai, those like influencers in who do this stuff. And then when you saw how they were around the professionals, you're like, you don't have it yet.
There's
it goes to show
there's
you.
different levels to
Yeah,
this,
like
right?
you would think someone like that would excel, and then they go in there and you're like, there's something off. And then who was the dude that got speared? The influencer?
Oh, yeah.
Speed.
He got crushed.
Dude, like, here's the thing. People are like, oh, it's fake. It's like, yeah. So I tell people, there's an entertainment aspect to it. Like,
Absolutely.
you take that spear. Like you have to put your position to take it.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel it, but,
And you have to know how to take it, or you're getting messed
and
up.
it's still happening.
It's still happening.
It's still happening.
And there's nothing you can do about it when there's a 250-pound man throwing a shoulder into you.
Dude, that was fucking wild. His like neck broke. I feel like his snapped.
It was gnarly.
So is that something you guys are gonna like? You guys just bringing in local wrestlers? You said you were flying people in.
Yeah, we got talent. Like I said, I'm main eventing against EC3, who's
That's
a
huge,
multi-time world champion, right? He's worked at every top company. He was the NWA world champion. He was the TNA world champion. He's worked for WWE, NXT, Ring of Honor, right? Like, who's who of every company. And right now he's kind of leading the charge on the independent scene. I'm sure he could have went back to any company that he wanted to if he wanted to, but he's enjoying his time where he's at right now. And him and I get to make some magic this weekend.
No pun intended.
Yeah, baby.
You're making magic.
Hey.
Well, and now you're coaching. That's gonna be the dude. I need to like sound effects. That's what I need to do. And fucking Sean does it very well. He does like the edits, the pre-edits, and everything.
Dude, he did like a whole movie trailer for that.
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't have the bandwidth or the. I feel like I could try, but
You definitely could.
he does it better. So we'll just let the people who do it better do it.
Hey,
And
such
now
is
you're
life.
coaching stuff, right? You're doing personal coaching. What?
Yeah.
Like, did that stem from the gym stuff or?
So that's what I was doing previously to opening up the gym. And then that's what inevitably led me to open the gym. Was like, this just makes, it's perfect transition. It's natural, right? Like
Growth.
One progression into the next. Obviously that backfired horribly. We can get into that later. But it allowed me to go back to Wright's gym. Dave Wright was gracious enough. Was like, hey, my door is always open to you, whatever you want, which then ended up actually leading to me hiring mentors. I went to companies called JWX. These guys are amazing, right? Super, not just fitness coaches, but like online coaches, mentors,
Life coaches. essentially.
life coaches. And with everything that's been going on, these guys have been instrumental for me. Like at the time, I thought I was hiring them for business, right? Which I did, but there was so much more to it that wasn't involved yet. Like it didn't happen, so I didn't even know where it was going yet. But I hired these guys to really start to take my online platform to the next level, so I could start cashing in, making money off my Instagram, off my Facebook. Utilize social media to create another revenue stream.
Yeah, leveraging what you have.
Correct.
How important is it to have these mentors? I try to we always talk about circles and surrounding yourself with the right people. And I feel like a lot of times when people hear the Instagram, motivational stuff, they write it off because it's corny. And I was that guy. And then I started implementing the simple things people talk about because we overlook it, right?
Yep.
When you start implementing the simple things, you start to see that change and feel that change. And then people are looking at you like, dude, how are you like this? How'd you get like this? And it's just like, oh, you don't see it.
This is me.
Yeah, you don't see it. You feel like you're growing slowly and maturing or whatever we want to call it, pushing, elevating, because you're applying these little steps. Mm-hmm. So how important is it that surrounding yourself with the right people for your goals in order to accomplish them?
It's incredible. I mean, it's been night and day difference. Like you mentioned, making the post and people are like, oh, this is corny, this is cheesy, right? My mentors literally were like, listen, if you make a post, it's not about the likes, it's not about the views. It's about connecting with at least one person. If you connect with one person with that post, you did your job. That's what matters.
Dude, social media has made it so it's kind of numbed us to likes and stuff like that, right? 30 people like your stuff.
Exactly.
Imagine 30 people coming up to you as you walk down the stairs to the studio. 30 people going, hey, dude, what's up, man? I really appreciated what you did. Really appreciate it.
Correct.
If 30 people did that in real life, we'd be like, wow, that made an impact.
Dude, that's what I'm doing right now.
And people do
that's
online.
what's happening. I literally just got, I think it was 5 messages yesterday. And again, not that it's it's only 5. No, 5 people were affected by one motivational post that I put out yesterday. I didn't start doing that for anyone else other than me. It was more like a diary, like a journal, just to keep me on my P's and Q's.
Accountability.
Keep me moving forward and staying positive, through tumultuous times. But then people started to message me like, yo, I needed that today. Or you don't know how much that one post helped me today. Or that really, really resonated. Like, you don't understand. I needed that at that moment. And I was like, damn, I'm on to something here.
Yeah, and it kind of pushes you to keep going.
Yeah. Like, once you can help one person and you realize, obviously my given career path, is in entertainment, right? But also I do personal training. I'm at the gym with people 8 a.m., sometimes till 8 p.m. I'm in the gym sometimes 12 hours a day, right? But it's more than that. Because I'm getting DMs from other people online. At the same time, I'm helping people in person. I'm helping people online, across the world, right? It's not just trying to be in this Pittsburgh bubble where I live. It's doing something greater. It's leaving a legacy.
Yeah, something that will continue on when we can't.
Correct.
To be not to be morbid, but
you're right.
What do you want to be remembered by? I'll ask it right now. Like what when the lights are off and Savage is in bed.
One thing I've always said, I want everyone to know that Shane is a good human. End of the day, right? And I used to say this about wrestling in like a very small manner, small bubble mindset, right? Because everyone's like, oh, that dude's a badass wrestler. But when you meet him, he's a piece of shit. And I'm just using no one in general, but there are guys like that. They're some of the best in the world. So talented. But when you talk to them, they don't have the time for you. They're better than you. Their shit don't stink. And you want nothing to do with that person. I mean, literally, I've heard stories of people going up to meet and greets, standing in line for 3 hours to take a photo with someone just for them to get snubbed.
What did they say? What's the saying? Don't meet your idols. Mm-hmm. You know, because you have them in this pedestal.
You put them up here, larger
and then
than
you
life.
Meet them, and
right.
You're like, oh,
and they don't
not
live
what
up.
I expected.
And that's exactly what I want to do, right? I want you to meet me and be like, yo, he's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have a conversation with that guy.
And I tell people because they're like, oh, Savage. And it's like,
yeah,
meet him in person.
Sean just did that. He was like, bro, I thought you were a dick.
Well, you know, in certain settings, I have to be.
Correct.
Yeah, but
right. There's a character behind everything.
Yeah, and that's the entertainment world. And I think that's what, like, actors, you know, actors who play heroes and great in movies and shows.
Sometimes you're the villain, sometimes you're the hero.
And then you meet him in real life and you're like, oh, you're a fucking asshole. It's like, no, it's not that he's an asshole. He's just not who he's playing on TV.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like,
you'll just think about Money Mayweather or the Notorious McGregor, right? Those are characters, bro.
Did you see?
You know that?
Did you see him with the Paul brothers' mom?
No.
So they were on their way to the inauguration, and McGregor's sitting next to Logan Paul's mom.
Okay.
And then the Logans are sitting in front of him, and then Theo Vaughn is in the front of the bus, and Theo turns around. He's like, "Hey, don't you touch Pam," like because of everything going on. And McGregor's just laughing. The Logan brothers are laughing. It's like, at the end of the day, we're all just people trying to do something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, how do you get someone's attention? You can be
right. Everyone's so mad at the Paul brothers, right, for the success that they've achieved in such a short amount of time. But what they don't see was 15, 10, X amount of years ago where they were grinding away. They were on the Disney Channel, right? They were putting in all the sweat equity on YouTube to make themselves who they are today. It's not by accident. No one sees the days, the years, the months of hard work to become an overnight success.
Yeah, and say what you want about them, they've brought boxing back into
they brought
light.
Boxing. They're doing wrestling, right? Like they are full on
Logan,
entertainers. Right? Yeah. And guess what? He could have been a one and done. He was like, I love this shit. That's one thing, dude. He was doing RKOs in the pool as like a 12-year-old, right? Like that was one of his. Right? That was one of his first viral videos.
We all were doing that,
right? He just was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it better than everyone else. But he took it serious, just like Jake Paul in the boxing world, bro. He didn't just go hire a mom and pop coach or go to a local gym, right? No, he went to the best gyms, hired the best coaches, and dedicated his time to the craft. Which I don't care what you say. Whatever level pro you are, if you don't do that, you don't care about the business that you're in.
Yeah, he moved to Puerto Rico to train. Like, he left where he's at to submerge himself in
that world.
In that world, you know, my buddy did that with. He was training for the Ironman. Shout out Fish, and he was like, "Dude, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to tackle." He moved to Texas where the Ironman was going to be.
Yeah,
swam, ran, and biked nonstop.
Exactly
for months, and then ran the Ironman.
I applaud that type of commitment and dedication.
And he's not a celebrity. He's not. He's
so he'll never get his flowers. But in his mind, he knows what he did, and he knows that he did everything he could to be the best at that very moment.
Dude, he averaged like a 7-minute mile in the run, which is the last thing you do. Like you just swam
and biked. Right.
And you're running a better mile than I am.
Yeah.
You know, which
fresh
doesn't say much. Yeah. I'm like fresh. I can't run that anyway. But, you know, there's people like that everywhere who do these things.
Yeah.
And they just don't have the social media platform or the recognition. But like, you don't have to be a superstar to be a superstar.
Correct.
There's superstars everywhere. That's why I love talking to people. Like, shockingly, he's like, oh, I know this guy. I'm like, oh shit, okay, maybe we can't put him on then. He's too big time. But
I'll make sure you get my name right for that check.
the referral check. How has you've done MMA, now you're getting into boxing.
Yeah.
Your wrestling career. How has that kind of contributed to your personal coaching? Like, how do you apply what you do for yourself to helping people achieve their specific goals in training?
So the beauty of it is like, I'm not a cookie cutter, one style type of approach coach, right? I have done so many things, so many walks of life that they all have just basically conglomerated together, right? To where everything is under one umbrella. Like, and I want to give whoever it is an opportunity to achieve that goal, right? Whether it's from a mindset approach, whatever, from accountability, whether they just want to lose a couple pounds, or, I got people that trying to take a law enforcement test, right? That's something most people are like, man, I can't do that. You can. If you dedicate the time and you put in a few months of consistency, you can do whatever the fuck you want in this world.
Dude, that's all. Someone said to become an expert, if you applied 6 minutes of your day to whatever it is, every day, you'd become an expert. Not good, not great, an expert in that field of whatever you're trying to do. 6 minutes a day.
But people don't have the time.
6 minutes.
Bro, you take a poop longer than 6 minutes, and I know you're scrolling on your phone. You have more than 6 minutes a day to apply yourself.
You trying to call me out, bro? Because how'd you know that? You got
you're drinking that energy. You're like, I know it's going to hit soon.
But it's so true. Like, we spend hours on Netflix. We spend hours on what they call doom scrolling. Yep. Like, if you just applied that time to something, a goal that you have in mind, you would become an expert.
How bad do you want something? That's what it comes down to. That is the end all be all. If you want something bad enough, you will sacrifice everything for that goal.
And then people call you insane.
Yeah.
But
right.
Insanity has become, wow, he's all in on this. That's insane. It's like, that's a goal.
Is it insane? Right? Like, I'm going back into boxing. 8 years I've been out of the boxing ring, right? I did one boxing match and I lost. I didn't prepare for it the way I should have. I went in arrogant, like, oh, I got this. I'm going to beat this guy. And then by all rights, I should have. But I deserve to lose that match. And that's what people won't say. They'll give you the woe is me. And like even afterwards, I thought my hand should have been raised. Absolutely. Because I pulverized this guy. But I didn't do everything that I could have to have been prepared to genuinely win. So I lost. But it's the accountability. And now I'm coming for my get back. 8 years. Everyone has been asking because I've been doing wrestling. I've been traveling the world, making a name for myself. But now it's time to come home. I'm wrestling more in this city more than I've ever have. And now I link back up with Bill Hutchinson, who was one of my original training partners when I was 20 years old in the bottom of a tanning salon in a mixed martial arts studio, right? Crazy. Why do people get put back in your life at certain times? I can't answer that question, but I do know that I'm open and I'm receptive to it. And I was like, let's take this time right now to make something of it.
And after, that you mentioned that loss, like that could be disheartening. What made you go, you know what, right now is the time to get this back?
There was a series of events. One was the gym failing, right? And I needed something for me. I needed something to get up in the morning, to be motivated for, to push myself, the ambition, the dedication, everything that's going on in my life right now. Like it could have been disastrous. It's a tragedy, right? But I remain focused because I have a goal, because there's a name in front of mine now moving forward. Without that, I don't know where I would be. But everything happens at the right time. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a huge believer of that. Everything happens at the right time. Perfect timing, but then preparation meets opportunity. And preparing to fail or failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So I aligned myself with Hutch. Him and I have been in the gym 3-4 days a week, every single week for the last 8 weeks. We put in a full fight camp for this, right? Like I've been out of the game for a long time, but I'm coming back to prove exactly why I go by the moniker, the elite combat athlete. There's not one sport that I can't dominate in.
So people can expect full domination.
Oh my God, man. It's gonna be a massacre.
Dude, and we were talking, me and Bill were talking in the last episode, like the accountability thing is the biggest part of and then I was just talking to Tim with GB. He's the head coach at Gracie Baja. I went to his church out there. He showed me his gym. He's like, "Have you been to the gym?" I haven't. I heard a lot about it. Showed me his gym and stuff. And we were talking about life, and like he's one of those dudes. We were in the basement for like fucking 40 minutes, dude. But like you wouldn't even. It was like a blink of an eye. And we're talking life. We're talking training. We're talking philosophy. We're talking all this stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, he's talking about one of his drills. He's like, yeah, and if you win, this is what you do, and if you learn, you go do this." And I was like,
"Sure,
win or learn."
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you don't lose here. You train and you learn.
I love that.
And I was like, dude, I'm stealing that.
Absolutely.
And I literally told him, my next episode, I'm plugging that in.
Bam.
Win or learn.
Here we are.
And if you only lose when you quit, that's when the loss comes in.
Man.
So like you learned your last fight.
Yeah.
And what did you learn that you're going to apply? How did you approach this? How are you approaching this fight differently?
Dude, I'm training my ass off, right? Like I'm training, you just did the interview with Hutch, right? That guy's fought world champions on the biggest stages. He's gone more rounds than I could ever even imagine, right? Not to mention all his stuff in his personal life. But what I'm doing differently is now that I'm training with that caliber of athlete multiple times a week, it's showing me where I can actually be, right? It's shown me, it's like, if he can do it, I can do that. If I put in and dedicate the time. But it directly correlates. The amount of effort you put in is the results that you get. And if you don't put in the effort, then the results are going to prove themselves to you.
It's funny when people are upset at the results they didn't get when they didn't put the time in.
Correct.
It's like you
6
expected
minutes.
this result, but you didn't put the time dedicated to obtain that result.
Correct.
And I think if we can, and me and Bill were talking about that, owning your learning moments.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, oh, the ref did this or the guy did this. Well, they're taking all that power away from me, where if you're like, hey, no, I should have done this better. I need to come back and how did I get hit that way? Why did I allow myself to be put in that position?
Right.
Why was I tired? Why was I exhausted? You own that. Now, when you own it, you can dissect what needs to be done and do it.
Yeah.
Where if you're throwing it to the ref, the judges fucking
they
scored
screwed
this.
me.
Yeah, it's like you can't do anything about that.
Right.
So your next fight, you
left it in their hands. Take it out of their hands.
Yeah.
Take the accountability. Put forth every effort, maximum effort, day in and day out, and you will not be denied.
And so going on that like relentlessness, you learned, now you're going back in boxing. What kept you in the fitness space with what happened with the gym? That would be a lot to deter people. You're growing. Now you're launching your own gym. You're helping, set this thing up. You're in it. You're like, this is the moment. And then boom, rug's pulled.
Yep.
Easy to go, you know what? Like, fuck this.
Absolutely.
Like, what made you keep in with the training after all that happened?
It's pretty simple is don't quit. Never settle. Right? It's whatever cliche analogy you want to put there. I could have easily, all right, this is me. I'm out. But one, I had to pay my bills, right? I had to pay the bills. Bills got to get paid no matter what. So went back to the drawing board and I sat there and now I had a significant amount of free time. And I was like, what do I do? And that's when I hired the mentors at JWX. And I would literally sit on calls daily listening to these guys, right? It wasn't the fact like that I paid them this money and they're just going to show me the magical. No, what they did was taught me. They didn't just say, hey, XYZ, let's put things into place and then you're going to become a millionaire. It's not how it works. You still have to apply yourself. So with this new free time, I was like, man, I need to dedicate my time while I have it right now to increasing my value in any capacity. But it ended up being the fitness realm. I've lived, as a professional athlete, I guess as an athlete in whole since I was 20 years old. Almost 20 years of being an athlete. you don't lose that, right? But over the time, I was able to grow and expand my knowledge, not just as an athlete, but as a coach. I never in a million years would have thought I'd ever be a coach, right? But here I am. And obviously I have a lot to offer that I didn't even realize.
Yeah, and what lessons did you learn while that the gym stuff was happening that you apply now to coaching specifically?
Firstly, don't get in bed with the wrong people, first and foremost, right? If it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true, right? I had an opportunity that just presented itself. I'm going to jump on that, right? I put no money down. I'm the name. I'm the face of the place. I run it however I see fit. These guys ran out of money. They were lying. They were stealing, right? It was every possible bad scenario came of that. But what it taught me, the bigger lesson, keep your circle small.
How would you let's say you can go back and do it over. Same people, same gym. What are some things you could have done that could have possibly changed the outcome? Or is this one of those things that you're like, that was supposed to play out? That's
exactly how it was supposed to play out. It led to some very unfortunate situations, in my personal life. It really, really, as much as I didn't realize at the time how much it was going to affect me, because I had my outs, I had my clauses in the contracts and everything like that. But man, it could have broke me. But getting into bed with the wrong people can change your entire life in the blink of an eye, right? Like as much time as I dedicated to that was time I took away from my home life, which inevitably led to the separation of me and my wife, which, it's rough, but I took the accountability afterwards. After I looked back, I didn't see it at the time. I didn't realize how much I was neglecting her, right? But again, it's the accountability and it's keeping your circle small. I let these poor people in my life and influence the outcome into which I was manifesting stuff daily, but it was all the wrong stuff. I thought I was on the right path. I thought I was doing everything for the right reasons. And then looking back is like, actually, this wasn't what it was supposed to be. And she tried to tell me numerous times, she's like, this isn't it. This isn't it. But in my mindset, I'm like, I'm no quitter. I'm going to make this work. Whatever I can. Once the door's open, I got this. And the door's open, and it actually went further downhill because they handcuffed me. They told me I couldn't do certain things. I wasn't allowed to market. They actually said at one point I was in too good of shape to be marketed and advertised as the owner of the company. I was like, this is a gym. This is a fitness business, right? This is a boutique studio where people were coming and paying high-end top dollars. They don't want to be trained by some average person, right? Like, and it crushed me. But again, like you take what you get from it, right? Chapter closed. I slammed that book shut and I kept on moving. I kept pushing. And like I said, it ended up costing me, my relationship with my best friend. But such is life. Teaches you a lesson. At the time, I didn't know why. And I still don't know why. But there's a lesson to be learned. And that's why I'm open with talking about it, right? Because I want people to see like, this strong dude or this strong-willed guy, or they see the savage gentleman and they're like, look at this guy. He got his whole fucking life together. But behind closed doors, you don't see what's going on. Right? Like I let you see what I want you to see. But that's led me to be a better coach. That's led me to helping more and more people through the positivity that I've been preaching. It's actually allowed me to regain my faith. I've gotten closer to God. And over these last couple months, I've accepted Jesus into my life.
That's awesome.
And it wasn't me, right? He set something bigger for me. This happened for a reason. Like I said, I still don't know why, but one sign after another sign after another sign. Dude, I've had my eyes open and just seeing all these things that are showing me that I'm following the right path.
And that's the beauty of faith. It's like, maybe we never understand why, but if we trust the process, and we always say, there's the thing, people when faith comes up, people get all, but we always say trust the process. Everything happens for a reason. We say all these things that allude to there's something better for us. There's a path we're supposed to take.
Right.
And we like to create our own path, right?
Yeah.
And when we create our own path, lessons develop, things happen that aren't what you want or you don't feel it's beneficial to your life. And it somehow pushes you back to this path you're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, if you're a perfect human, which none of us are, we all fall short.
We all have flaws. We all sin.
We will hit that path hard and boom, success. We're not promised millions. We're promised success and happiness.
Success.
And
everyone's definition of success is different.
It's different, right? But we like to do our own thing, right?
Sure.
We know better.
Right.
I know what's best for my life.
Of course.
You know, so this gym opportunity.
I thought it was the end all be all, right? I had opportunities and mindset. I had investors moving forward to open up multiple locations. I was like, this is it, right? Finally, I get my break. I did, but that wasn't it.
Different type of break.
Different type of break.
How? So now going through that, how do you I guess manage? Do I quit? Because oftentimes quitting is alluded, and we talk about it on the show a lot.
Yeah.
Quitting is alluded to failure, you know. But there's always times where quitting is the appropriate action, and you transition to a new path, learn and go. So being in that mix, now that you can look back, kind of Monday night quarterback yourself, what are some moments you felt you should have kind of not quit, but like, hey, this isn't it, kind of reassess and then change direction? What are some of those moments that you kind of overlooked?
Man, there were a lot. And, you know, again, like, you know, me and my wife were separated, but, you know, she was always the sounding board for me whenever I would go home. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't seem right. And she's like, red flag, you know, don't go back, right? Like there's always something, like it went down to just contract negotiations. I was promised X, they wanted to give Y. And then when I was like, hey, where's the contract? Oh, I got the lawyer doing this. I got this happening. I'll get it to you next week. And I pushed it off because in my mind, I wanted to see the bigger picture. You know, she was like, you're an idiot. And she wasn't wrong. But in my mind, I thought I was doing it for the right reasons. I thought it would just play itself out, right? Everyone eventually shows their true colors and shows their hand, right? Like what you and I bring to the table is not what most of the world offers, unfortunately, right? Like there's always some scheme or some ulterior motive, you know, to where this is for them. It's not for you. They're just along for the ride. And they thought I was going to be their golden goose, right? They thought I had a following in Pittsburgh. I got the social media buzz, right? My wife is on TV, right? They're like, oh, we're going to use all of this. We're going to take and take and take and take. And they didn't give. And you learn that. So that's why I want to give now. That's why I want to help people because things were taken from me. And if I can help one person, I did my job.
And how's the transition been from being a physical trainer, like in a physical environment, to now kind of adopting that online personal training? Like, was there like a learning curve for that, or is this something you kind of just? I kind of hit the ground running. You know, it's absolutely a learning curve because when you're in person with a one-on-one, you know, hour-long session with another human, right? You become a sounding board. You become a therapist. You're not just a regular coach. And I took all those years of experience and realizing like I have more to offer than just a physical fitness well-being approach, right? No, like the mindset is just as important, right? A lot of people hire me purely for accountability, not because they don't know how to work out or they can't go on Google and print out a workout, say 6 days, bam, beast body workout, right? Whatever the case. But it's the accountability. Well, and there's a lot of that online too. Like you can, I mean, with AI now, hey,
boom,
make me a plan with this. This is my body type.
So easy.
It
so
is
simple.
There's something of having someone to answer to, someone to kind of like guide you through that path.
But not only that, it's the nuances, right? If you go do a push-up and then 10 other people do a push-up, everyone's push-up is going to look
10
different.
different push-ups.
Right? And it's like, no, tweak that. And you're like, oh my God, I've never felt that kind of burn before. right? And it's something so minuscule, and I just use that reference because it's easy to comprehend. But on a grander scale, hey, change your diet, right? You don't have money to train, right? You don't have money to pay me. Cool. Let's do this one for free. Stop going out and drinking. Stop going and door dashing. Stop going to restaurants for 1 month. And all of a sudden, you're going to have so much more money. You're going to have more money after you pay me what I'm worth and what I'm giving you. And you're still going to have extra. So it's like there are so many different scales and so many different levels to this. But also what you're getting now is something that you can't invest anything better in. And that's fitness. That's health, right? The longevity of your life directly depends on your activity. The more time you put in, the more time you get on the back end. Because if you don't pay for it now, you're going to pay for it later.
I just want to take a second to shout out a few companies who believed in me. These were one of our first official sponsors, so huge shout out. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Carbo Jewelers, established in 1997 on the values of honesty and integrity. Whether you're searching for the perfect piece, need expert repair services, visit Carbo Jewelers in Newark's Ironbound District, where your jewelry is always in safe hands. This episode is also brought to you by Continental Jewelers, proudly serving Hudson County, New Jersey since 1964. Whether you're seeking a timeless piece or need expert repairs, they've got you covered. Visit Continental Jewelers, your trusted source for all things jewelry. You can find them on Instagram at Carbo Jewelers or online at carbojewelers.com. Lastly, big shout out to Carbo Trading. Besides coins, precious metals, and jewelry, if it could be traded and collected, he's probably got it. They can be found on Instagram at carbo.trading. You can find all of our sponsors out online on our sponsor page at therelentlessproject.com. They say if you live an easy life, it'll be hard. If you live a hard life, it'll be easy. Mm-hmm. And if you don't choose your hard, it'll be chosen for you.
Yes.
And I truly believe that. Like something simple like fitness, not fitness, not simple, but if you intentionally go and train hard and you put yourself in these difficult positions, you run when you don't want to run, you lift when you don't want to lift, you start doing the hard stuff, those start to compound, and then your life starts to become easier. You become healthier. You become more mindful of things.
Right.
You become more...
Your cognitive ability increases.
Yeah, there was this study done, and I should have fucking researched it.
I just sent it to you.
Yeah. You're the one.
Yes.
Okay, I fucking knew it was. I was telling Bill, I'm like, dude, I just saw. It was you. The study that there's this cortex that grows in your brain when you do
every
things.
Single time you do something you don't want to do.
You don't want to do, and that's not like something crazy.
Right.
That's you don't want to go do the laundry because you'd rather sit on the couch. You getting up.
Right.
Getting your doing that thing you don't want to do, you're fighting the urges to relax. You're building that.
Yeah.
So if you do,
you're building a better mind,
yeah,
which no one can take away from you.
Taking the stairs instead of and you hear about all this. We've been hearing this
success.
We hear about all this shit for years, right? Like park far away and walk into the store instead of finding the closest spot.
Yeah.
That's something you don't want to do. You don't want to walk. There's 15 spots open in front of the store. Why am I going to park at the end of the lot?
Everyone wants convenience. And especially nowadays in the social media era, everyone wants instant gratification. No one wants to put the work in, right? You see it with this new millennium, right? To where or this new age demographic. Everyone wants everything, but they don't want to put in the work.
And when they don't get it, they're depressed and anxious. And it's like, well, you have to do the work. Like everyone wants the money. Everyone wants the free time, but you have to build that.
Yeah.
You have to build that. You have to do the work so that later that comes.
Correct.
And it's doing the hard things, taking the steps and not the elevator, parking far, little stuff like that. You start to build this cortex. Right. I was reading that. I'm like, this is crazy. I started to tell Bill about it. I'm like, fuck, I don't remember.
Yeah.
That I sit in front of these mics and cameras and I blank out and then my ADHD just like.
Everything takes over.
Yeah.
The kind of lives that we live also, right? Like as soon as I leave here, I'm going to a sparring session, right? So aside from being punched in the head, right? My life is constantly on the go. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I got to jump on a phone call with a bunch of sponsors, get stuff ready for the fight coming up. So like if I don't put you in the calendar, my life is going to be crazy, right? And it's crazy to begin with.
And like I can appreciate someone like that because, you know, I texted you. I was like, hey, dude, court hearing just popped up. I'm going to be in court. And you're like, well, I cleared my schedule to do this. And I'm like, all right, bet. So I got to figure it out. Like when you have someone who understands that, you know, I'm very appreciative of your time. I'm not
best
blowing this off.
and most valuable commodity that you can give to someone is your time.
Yeah.
If I give you my time, I can hand you money, right? I can give you food. I can give you anything that you might think you want. But if I give you my time, it's just like, it goes back to that adage, right? Feed a man for a day or teach a man to fish, right? If I give you my time and you get some bit of knowledge from that you can use further in the rest of your life, instead of just saying, here you go, bro, you thirsty? Or, hey, this is how you get water on your own. This is how you make money to survive, right? Like something to that degree, right? But
no, that's true. That's true. So I was telling him, I'm like, hey, you know, we got boom, we got to get up, we got to do this, then we got the podcast. He's like, oh, is Savage coming? I'm like, that's the one that's coming. And he's like, see, right? And then from here, we got to go. I got to go to PT, and then from PT, I got to go do real estate stuff, and like that's how I live my life. And I can understand why if you don't live that life, how you can look outside and be like, dude, your life is chaos.
Yes,
it's organized chaos.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I thrive in organized chaos.
I do
because if idle times produce idle hands, right? And if I don't have anything to do, I'm like, why am I sitting here right now? Granted, I could go fold the laundry, right? I could go load the dishes, right? And it's like, okay, cool, right? I just moved in my loft. Like I'm still decorating it. Like it's been 2 months. I had most of everything put together, enough to live comfortably. Like if a friend comes over, he can take a look and be like, yo, this is dope. But, I know there's still things that need to be done. It's like, all right, cool. I got about 30 minutes. What can I accomplish?
Dude, I have a list. The list and calendars are like my saving grace. And when I'm sitting down doing nothing, or like, I'm like, oh, I just need to chill. I'm like, oh, what are some of the things I can knock off this list while I'm chilling?
Right.
And people look at me like, dude, you just need to. And I know where it's coming from, and I appreciate those messages.
It's from a good heart, right? It's from a place of like, hey, you're always on the go.
It's like, yeah, I have to be.
It's like, yeah, but my seconds, my time, right? Because that's what this goes back to. My time is as valuable as I want it to be. And I think it's the most valuable commodity that we have.
It is. Why do we want to make money?
Time. You cannot ever buy time. You can get as much money as you want.
It's the only resource that you can't renew.
Right.
You spend money, you'll get it back.
Yep.
You sell gold or you'll get it back. Time is the only thing that it's a running clock. It doesn't stop. You can utilize it better.
Right.
But you can't be like, oh man, I just wasted. And that's the worst. When I waste an hour doing something, like that's an hour I will never get back.
Correct.
I can spend the next one better.
Sure. More efficiently.
I'll never get that hour back. So how are we spending our time? How are we using the only resource that's given to us, right? We aren't given money. We have to usually do something to get money.
We got to trade time
for money. That's so true. Time is the only thing we are given that is like, here's a resource. How are you going to amplify everything around you to start, paying your bills, seeing your kids play sports, or whatever goal you want.
Whatever it is.
This is the only resource you're given in life. Boom. It's better than gold.
And guess what? When you're your own boss and you say, I'm worth this much money, some people look at you like you're crazy, right? Or you can go to work and you can punch a time clock and someone's going to tell you what your value is, and it's always going to be less than what you think it is. We all get the same 24 hours in a day, and everyone wants to be like, oh, he's so successful, or oh, he's so lucky. No, I was just more efficient with my time.
Yeah, and it's to be extreme. Like you see the people down on their luck. They have a lot of time that they spend trying to gain their resources in a way. And then you have Elon Musk. Both people, 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
He can utilize other resources to manage his time better. But how do we build up to that? Little baby steps.
Yeah. Everyone was like, oh, so I see this. Big goal. It's the finish line. There it is. Well, we all start on our backs. We got to learn to crawl. Then we can eventually walk, right? And then we can start running. But if you try to skip that crawling, walking, you just start running, you're going to fall flat on your face.
And that happens. Mm-hmm. You started where you were.
Right.
Now what? Boom. Get up.
Start again.
Start again.
So it's one thing I just said this the other day, and I was like, this is genius, right? Because if I fall, right, I'm going to fall forward. I'm never going to fall backwards. But think about this. If you fall forward flat on your face, you're ahead of where you started.
Yeah, people like 10 steps forward, 5 steps back. You're still ahead.
You're still ahead.
You're still ahead.
Yeah. People don't understand. Fall forward.
Hashtag fall forward. That's gonna be the premise of everything.
Love this.
What's up with this Comic-Con thing? Like, how did? Because that's a little.
That's some next level stuff.
Yeah, and it's different.
I kind of manifested it, right? Everything happens for a reason. Over the last couple of years, I transitioned my character. I didn't want to as a pro wrestler. And like, take you back, I was doing a Victorian era thing. I was with my wife at the time. Her and I had a package deal. It was amazing. But then she went to TV. Her and I are no longer together. So I started transitioning my character to fit more of who I am, right? The success in wrestling is be you and turn that dial up to 10. I'm not a Victorian era gentleman, right? I'm covered in tattoos. I got this crazy beard, right? Doesn't work. It's not the same thing. Even though fans love the character, they love this variation so much more. And as soon as I was myself, they started to correlate it to the video game Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like,
you kind of embody that too.
Yes. And that's how this all kind of manifested itself, right? I, by no means, spoke this into existence, but essentially, right, the hard work, the years, and the dedication to this craft, to this character, has paid dividends. I started partnering up with Street Fighter. I got a sponsorship with Super Rare, one of the biggest fight companies in the world. Super Rare. And they just happened to have a deal with Street Fighter at the same time because the video game was coming out. All just by happen chance, right? Like I was like, I'm going to do the Muay Thai guy. I'll be the badass fighter, the prize fighter, dress accordingly, blah, blah, blah. Other plans for me, right? Not my plans. But this happened and I ran with it. Got a lot of success. Did some photo shoots in the Sagat style shorts from Super Rare. And then Bill actually connected me with a promoter. He's like, yo, I'm doing this thing. I'm actually partnered with Street Fighter and Capcom for this video game convention. And I'm like, hold on. I need in on this. This fits. This, right? I did 2-3 years of this character. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But there's levels to this. So biggest Comic-Con in the world, the San Diego Comic-Con, where everything's announced. They want me to be Sagat. They want me to fight as Sagat.
When you see Ice in San Diego, that's where he's out of.
Yeah.
Like, make sure you give him a little press pass or something. Do some relentless work. But no, that's awesome. How does this high profile, what does this mean for you and your career and Shane as a person? Like, where do you plan on taking this?
I'm going to take wherever I possibly can. I have no idea what this means. And it's so far away, maybe it never happens, right? But it's something we've talked about. It's in the atmosphere, and I'm putting it out there, right? I'm still on that manifestation.
Lines in the water.
Correct. And I'm following the path that has been given to me, right? Me and Bill are doing Turf Wars. We reconnected. Then this happened, right? If him and I don't reconnect, maybe this never happens. But it's all fallen at lineage.
Isn't
right?
it crazy how that works? You try to force something, and you're like stressing, and it's hard, and it's tough, and then you just like, I'm just going to take this where it goes.
Yep.
And then little puzzle pieces just start appearing and connecting. That's what's been happening with this. I had Bill on.
Yeah.
I have you on again.
Right.
I have, David Allen's supposed to be coming on.
Nice.
And
love David
Allen.
Allen.
Like, hold on. All you guys were, like, a lot of the people on this show have been to his shows and wear his suits. And I'm like, how is all this?
Me and Bill were models on the runway this year for him.
I'm like, how is all this just piecing together? It's just like, I didn't force this. It's not good. It's just the way it's going. And
but you're connecting with the right type of people.
Got my seatbelt on.
And guess what it means, right? It means you have a good circle. It's
appreciate
the power of the people that you surround yourself with, right? And again, another cliche thing is, but your network is your net worth,
Yeah.
right? That's very true. Show me the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and I'll show you exactly who you are.
It's funny because Bill's episode just came out. We were talking about this.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's almost like it works.
What?
And it's true. You're around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6. If you're around 5 smokers, you will be the 6.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's how I started smoking.
Wow.
I was doing construction. Everyone smokes in construction. I never smoked.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, oh, let me get one of those. I'm hot. I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Boom, I get a cigarette. Next thing you know, I'm a pack a day.
Damn.
Pack a day.
Wow.
So then I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah.
You know, I like fucking all the shit in cigarettes. I want to quit. Now I'm around everyone who's chewing. Like, oh, let's start chewing.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, all right, I start chewing. I'm not smoking anymore, but now I'm putting tar in my lip.
Yep.
And then from there, it became vaping. And then from vaping, it became ons and zins. So that's where I'm at. I got sugar packets with nicotine, which nicotine has been shown to stimulate cognitive growth. So that's my excuse.
Hey, listen, you tell yourself what you have to, buddy. Like, whatever makes you feel good inside.
But you surround yourself by people you tend to be like that.
Absolutely.
Those people.
Right.
You know, and if you want to change that, change who you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. You know, it may not happen immediately, but you start putting yourself in rooms, you start to become those people. And me and Bill were talking about this. If you're the smartest person in that room, it's time to find a bigger room.
Time to go.
You know, nothing against. Everyone's on their journey.
Big fish, small pond. It's not my mindset.
Yeah. It's like, all right, got to move to the next thing. Got to move to the next thing. And then next thing you know, you're looking back. Dude, when I started this podcast, they're supposed to be 15-minute episodes. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to talk to someone for 15 minutes. Like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, what are 15 minutes? Oh,
and
man.
how am I going to get enough people to do weekly episodes? You know, and there were times in the beginning where I'd have solo episodes, which I hated because I hate talking.
And then you're talking by yourself.
Yeah.
There's no back and forth. There's no conversation.
I hate that. You know, I'd rather I can talk to people all day.
Sure.
I can't talk to myself, especially in front of a camera. I feel like a douchebag. I'm like, who wants to listen to me? Like, people want to listen to the people.
Who are you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's the imposter syndrome.
The imposter syndrome, you know? And then now I literally have people. I was just at 247's fights again. Some dude won ticket. The dude who won tickets, he's like, hey, dude, I have a couple artists I manage. Like, I'm trying to get on with them. I'm like, dude, fuck yeah. Like, I'm sure you can offer a whole different level of insight to
That's incredible.
Musicians and stuff like that, which I've had a few musicians on. Haven't had any managers.
Right.
Or any promoters.
Correct.
So it's like.
Right. Like, you get the artist, but there's so many levels to this, right? It's like, okay, well, what do you do? What is your perspective in this scene now? Right?
Because then I can apply that to maybe I can apply it to what I'm doing. How do you manage multiple art? Like, how do you balance your time? All right, I'm going to now use that in MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace. Shout out MySpace.
Wow,
Tom, man. Wonder what's going on with Tom.
Tom, bro.
He was everyone's friend.
Mark outbeat. You know, he smoked Tom.
You think so?
Yeah.
Dude, Tom was
the man. He was everyone's friend too.
Yeah, harmless.
He had the most friends.
He was my first. Like, MySpace. Like, whoever was your first friend. Like, I was like, why are they number one? Why is she number one? Is he number one? I always left Tom number one. You can't argue with Tom.
You can't argue with Tom. I love that.
How do you manage? Now you're managing multiple projects. You know, you got this dance coming up. You have Wrestle Rex. You have Turf Wars. You have your coaching business.
And that's all in less than 30 days.
Yeah, it literally. Turf Wars, the dance, that's all.
1 week,
Wrestle Rex.
2 weeks, and then 4 weeks.
Like, how are you balancing your time? What's a typical day look like for you?
Man, I get up at 6 a.m. or I get up before 6 a.m. I go to the gym. I'm at the gym 6 a.m. doing my training, doing my physical fitness. Then I'll train 3 to 4 to 5 clients in a row. Usually I'll take a lunch break. Depending on the day, either I'm training more clients or I'm going to Boyce Park to go train with Hutch and Ryan, the boxing coach. And then afterwards, I'm going back to Wright's gym and I'm training people. And if I'm not there, I'm sitting online, I'm programming for people, right? Then you factor in, all right, well, now I got dance practice, right? Now I got to jump on a Zoom call. I got podcasts to do, right? I have to do my promotional portion still. You know, I have to get the word out about all the events. So any little bit of wiggle room that I have in my schedule, I plug something in. And whether it be another client or it's some form of media, right? Like I said, you know, I got to go to sparring after this. And then after that, I got calls with sponsors, right? It never stops. The grind never stops. It's the organized chaos that we spoke about earlier. My schedule is different every single day, and I love that because I couldn't do the monotony of the 9 to 5 or, the 7 to 3. But I'm so thankful and I'm blessed to be in a position where I get to control my own schedule and still be able to have enough income that I get to do whatever I want with the financial freedom, with my time, right? I get to set forth what I do with my day. My time is my time, and who I give it to is how I live.
And what advice would you give people who maybe are doing the 9 to 5 or trying to live on their own terms? What key takeaway, key advice you can give someone who's plugging that in? How can they apply your story, the things you've gone through, to kind of help them along their way?
I've adopted this mentality and this mindset years ago when I was 18, 19 years old. I was like, man, I'm going to go do this mixed martial arts shit. I got an opportunity to jump in a movie, right? Then I ended up having a featured extra role, right? And it just continued. And it was then I jumped in a bodybuilding show 1 week after I had an MMA fight. And then I jumped on to acting, right? And then I started a career as a corrections officer. And it was just whatever I want to do, I'm capable of. And that's what I want people to understand. If you set your mind towards it, you can achieve literally anything you want in this world, especially now with social media, especially now with the internet being so prevalent. Like you said, you can use ChatGPT for just about anything. If you put in a rudimentary system, hey, act as if you're, a mentor or a coach, and I want to be the best accountant, right? You're working this 9 to 5 and you're just punching the clock, making somebody else rich, right? Getting paid $15 an hour. How much is your time worth? Are you worth more than that? Do you have more value to give to someone else? Go do it on your own then. Take the leap. Don't stand still. If you take that jump and you're willing to commit and you're willing to send it, right? You got to jump off that cliff. No parachute. Burn the boats. If you do that, you will be rewarded immensely. You will be so much more successful, and I guarantee that you'll be so much more happy.
I feel like we're in the entrepreneur spirit. And so many businesses have been built in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And small personal businesses.
Correct.
Fitness has been, you go to a gym, you work out, you go home. Now there's online coaches, there's online trainers, there's online everything.
Yeah.
And now people you can have a brick and mortar and you can have the online aspect, and it's just building and building. All these social media influencers, say what you want about them. I personally, I'm not a fan.
Watch your tone, because you saw the Nutella bag that I came in with.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're doing things
correct
as well,
yeah.
But not to knock the social media influencers.
Sure.
They're a business.
Absolutely.
And they're getting
there's
paid
a skill behind
for
that.
their person.
Yeah.
So they're getting sponsorship deals, and that's not for me, but that's for a lot of people.
The crazy thing is that there's college courses based around social media now.
Yeah. And it's people knock the social media influencers. They're making money. They're freeing their time. They're traveling the world doing the things they want to do.
Correct.
Because of this business. And if that's where they find enjoyment, that's success.
Absolutely. Right? Everyone's success is different. Right? And if you work that 9 to 5 and all you're doing is punching that clock, and you come home and you have a beautiful wife and you have kids that you love and you want to have a couple brews, right? Sit down, have a home cooked meal. If that's your definition of happiness, who am I to judge you?
Success.
Live that life, bro. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life the way you want.
And when we preach success and I talk about success, that's what I'm talking about. I have a lot of people on here who have their own businesses and stuff, but the premise of this podcast is, how can I take his story or her story and apply it to my life to achieve my success, not his success.
Right.
You can't be the savage gentleman. There's already one of those.
There's one.
But how can I take his story and apply it to my life to reach my success?
Correct.
There's nothing against the 9 to 5. If you're an accountant, if you're an attorney, if you're a doctor, if you're a cop, be the best damn cop there is. Be the best attorney. Be the best nurse. Be the best whatever. I forget what episode I was talking about, but my daughter wanted McDonald's. I got it for her.
Sure.
She's been very good. And the person taking the order, her energy was freaking insane.
Wow.
Dude, we get to the window. She's like, I'm loving it. Boom, boom, boom. And to the point where my daughter was like, man, she's really cool. Like, she's awesome. I love her energy.
That's amazing.
That's success.
Right.
Like,
everyone would shit
on
working at McDonald's.
Yeah, but I'm like, I would love to sit down with this lady and be like, where does that come from?
Yes.
Like,
what else do you have going on that you are so happy right here doing this menial job, right?
Quote unquote, for the audio, he air quoted that.
Air quoted, and then another air quote is for minimum wage, right? I don't know what she's making, but for this job per se, what are you doing? Where did that energy come from? Did you have a good night last night? Right? Like, did you find a new suitor? Like, what's the opportunity that you were blessed with?
Exactly. Like, I attribute that. And you know what? That's the only time I've ever seen her. She can be living a crazy life and not going through the best things because, that first impression. We get that with social media. We see everyone's highlights. I saw her at the drive-thru. I saw her highlight at her. Maybe that's the best moment she had that day. How did you pull? Like, what did you pull to be like that? Because there's people who live an amazing life, quote unquote, and then something bad happens in their day, and that ruins their entire day, their entire mood,
their entire week.
Yeah, and it's
you never know. And like one of my pinned posts on Instagram was my debut at AEW, but the caption is, "You only get one chance to make a first impression. You can never get that back." It doesn't matter. Like, so if you're going through some shitty mood and you motherfuck somebody, right? Because you're in a bad mood and that's their first impression of you, you just altered that person's perception of you. You altered that person's day, right? Here we are, days later, you're talking to me about an employee at McDonald's.
This was months.
Months ago.
Yeah.
Even better.
Crazy.
Even better. Because it influenced you so much in such a positive manner that you're still talking about it. Now imagine if that person was like, spits on your burger.
We'd be talking differently.
We'd be talking real differently, right? Like, and we probably wouldn't even be talking about it because like you'd have been pissed for a day and it would have never went anywhere else.
And then, you know what? And it goes to show you about those first impressions. Let's say later down the road, I'm in an opportunity where I can bless someone. Mm-hmm. This person comes along. I'm going to be like, oh, dude, that's that lady that was super outgoing, super awesome. Like, that creates a path, that creates just opens doors for you.
Yeah.
Because now, if I'm in a room full of 15 people and you're the one I notice, I'm going to talk to you first.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because when I met you months ago in a drive-through line where people were miserable and, oh, I don't want this, I'm going to talk to you because you made an impact.
Right. What kind of impression and lasting value like do you present to people? And like you ask me, what do I want to be known for? Being a good human, plain and simple. When it comes down to brass tacks, you get more out of what you put into life. If you're a terrible human, how many people are going to want to come back and spend a second day, third day, fourth day with you, or tell their friends or tell their family or tell their coworkers about you, right? But if you're nice at that McDonald's drive-thru, I'm telling everyone about you.
And to go off that, how do you manage the negative things you hear? Because me personally, I wasn't the best dude growing up. I wasn't the best dude as an early adult. I've worked my ass off to break that stigma and be a better human and work and move in different ways. And, sometimes we hear rumors and, oh, well, be careful of this. And it's like, then people meet me and they're like, oh, man, like,
right?
That's not what I expected at all.
Correct.
And sometimes I fall trapped to, but why are people saying this about me? And that I'll allow it. I'll say that I'll allow it to affect me negatively. Mm-hmm. And it's been very recent where I'm like, why? Why am I taking the time out of my day to address lies? They're not even true. They're not even true. Why am I taking energy and time to address lies when those who matter and people who care to know me know that's not true?
Right.
How do you manage the perception that's been put on you?
Dude, it happens to me daily, right? Everyone sees the persona. Everyone sees the character. Everyone witnesses the savage gentleman, right? And they're like, oh, he's cocky. He's arrogant. He got his shit together. I don't want to talk to him. He's not relatable. He got all these things. He was probably given that, right? No one knows my story. No one knows how I was brought up, that I was bounced from home to home to home to home to home, drug addicts for parents, right? I did everything my own way. I did everything the way I wanted. So what you see is because I brought that shit to life, right? But if I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, I met Ish. That is a good dude, right? But maybe someone met you on a bad day and they're like, oh, I don't really like him. But then I changed that perception. I'm like, no. He's a solid ass dude, right? Because it's happened to me. People are like, oh, I met Savage. They're like, no, you're going to get the best first impression, right? Because respect is given. It's earned, but it's also given, right? And if I take that opportunity away from you, I take that opportunity away from myself to show you who I am, upon meeting me, right? It's not by accident that I'm where I am. It's because I've presented myself in such a light, but I'm just being true to myself, right? I don't take other people's, the word this is, other people's opinions as facts. I listen to them. And there's some days I get shit on. But the way I look at it, that means I'm doing something right. Because talk about me good, talk about me bad, you're still talking about me. But I know I can sleep good at night knowing that I'm a good human. Because I've had many people tell me many of things about certain, like, oh, this guy's a dick, don't meet him. Or that woman, bro, she's terrible, right? And as soon as I meet them, I'm like, I've heard so many horrible things about you, and you changed every single one of those ideals, right? Like the misconception.
Based off that first
impression. So why would I not put my best foot forward, right? I met some people Saturday night, Tom's Watch Bar, wrestling fans. I went down there for the IWC, for the event for the Royal Rumble, and a woman comes up to me. She's like, I just want to thank you for interacting with me online. I don't know this woman, right? She's like, we follow each other on Facebook. It was so cool that you were talking back to me, right? Now, granted, I was in character and I was being the savage gentleman, right? But she loved it. But she thanked Shane. She didn't thank Savage Gentleman, right? That night when I met her, she thanked me. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think it's multifaceted, right? Like present your best foot forward always. Mm-hmm. And know that you may not always be able to do that. So when you meet someone and that may not be their best foot, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right. They could be having a terrible day, right? Their mom could have passed away. Their dad could have been in a car accident, right? Just for instance, case in point, my sister was in a terrible car accident fucking last night, right?
Oh,
here I am in a positive mood. She's safe. She's healthy. Her car's totaled. She has insurance, right? She didn't even spend the night in a hospital. Thankfully, everything's all well. But like, if my sister would have passed away in that car accident, right, I'd be in an entirely different mood and different mindset today. But because I know she's safe, I know my mom's taking care of her. The car can be replaced, right? The time, the money, the effort, you can't replace a human, right? Like we talked about time being the most valuable commodity, but like people, right? You can't replace another person. And if they're taken from us too early, I just watched it happen. Met some people a couple weeks ago. There was a tattoo artist died in a head-on collision. There was a huge event, and I was thankful to be a part of that. But you never know what that person's going through on any given day. So you could have been having the worst day. Your daughter could have been screaming bloody murder, right? In the backseat of your car. I want McDonald's. Yeah. I want McDonald's. And you're like, shut up. I'm going to get you McDonald's. And you go see this woman. You're like, oh,
how nice.
I'm so much better now. Thank you. Right? You don't know why the interactions occur, but he does.
Yeah. And it goes back to that time, man. Like this time with this person, cherish it because it may not be, you may not have that time again, and we see in the news all the time, so-and-so passed away, tragic heart attack, car accident, something you can't control. Yeah. Like out of our control.
Yeah.
And then we get upset, right? We're like, man, the last time I was with this person, like with my cousin many years ago, we kind of had a little falling out. He moves to Florida. and then drunk driver hits him, he dies.
Man.
The first thing I thought about was my last reaction with him. And yes, death sucks.
Of course.
But what do we think about? Our last interaction with him.
Yep.
Man, why couldn't we just get over it? Why didn't I reach out to him when he was in Florida? Well, it's like that can happen at any time. So
Any moment.
why not cherish those moments we do have and try to be bigger and try to be better and try to approach things differently, because that time is never promised.
Correct.
You know, like, and then let's say we had a great time and we were in good terms, and then that happens. It's still going to suck, but you're not going to resort to like, man, like why didn't I do? It's going to be, man, we're not going to have those good times again.
Correct.
You know, it's still sad, and it's
going to forever eat at you. It doesn't matter. Like, you could have corrected all those wrongs, right? And you could have had that conversation, and you're still going to have those same thoughts.
Yeah.
I did it with my father. He passed away, right? And, at the time of his passing, he wasn't the healthiest, and, he was on his addiction journey, and it was like, I wasn't in the best mind space with him. I wasn't the happiest with him. It was still my father. I still loved him. But like, there were things that were said, and it's like, I can't unsay those ever again, right? But not that our last interaction was bad, but I still think about those.
Yeah.
Right? So, two sides of that coin. Just because it was your last interaction doesn't take away all the good stuff. And that's what we have to remember, especially within death, right? We have to take the good. Because if we take the bad, it's only going to hurt us, right? And I can already guarantee, if he was your blood relative, he doesn't want you to fucking suffer, right? He doesn't want you to think of that. He wants you to think about the good times, right? Why would anyone wish that upon you, right? You could be the worst human. No one actually truly ever is going to be like, well, I hope he suffers.
Yeah, I think once we reach that, like, and that's what I say. If we like right after death, if we can reflect and be like, hey, let's go back. Like, let's go back and do it again.
Yeah.
Everyone would be different. Everyone would change.
Yeah.
Because we take advantage of the time we do have, because it's easy to.
Sure.
We're supposed to be here for 70, 80 years.
Right.
I'm turning 32. I got 32 years to be a better person.
Yep.
It's like, no, you got today.
Yes.
And then maybe tomorrow.
Yes.
But you have today. You have right now.
Right.
Because I can walk out this studio and get plastered, and this episode will never air, so people never know I said that. But hopefully, let's hope not. Yeah, let's hope not. But like, you have right now to be better and do better.
Right.
Be good, be considerate.
Yeah.
Like, if someone's not being good to you, be considerate.
Right. And guess what? Even if someone's treating you like shit, kill them with kindness, because you don't know what kind of day they're having. And if you do them that service and that courtesy, maybe they extend that to somebody else later on in the day.
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. That's probably gonna be in the beginning of the episode, a little highlight reel. Because honestly, dude, like, the whole premise of this is if it changes one person, successful episode.
Correct.
Successful
Exactly.
episode. I don't need to have millions of views or not like that. It's like, did it connect with one person?
One person.
Yeah,
I
cool.
said that earlier, right?
Yeah, and that's what it's all about.
My post, right? If it gets one person, boom, mission accomplished.
Yeah. What in closing, what's one thing after the episode drops, after Savage is, the lights are off, the mics are off, what do you want them to pull from this episode once they're done listening to it? What's one message you hope hits with that one person?
I hope people have the strength to believe in themselves. Times will always get hard. Everyone will always go through something that beats them down. Bad times don't last, but good people do.
Well, that's none left said there. Where can people follow you? If they like you, they want to, you got a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of good stuff coming up. Where can
I got a little something for everybody.
Yeah. The men, the women, and everyone in between.
Yes, sir.
But where can people follow you and,
I'm on
and connect with you?
Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, my TikTok. I'm there seldomly. I do have a TikTok.
Started the talk.
So it's back to life. So I'm like, all right, let's give this some love now. But you can find me across all social medias at Real Savage Gent. But also, right, drop me a follow, drop me a comment. If you're going through some shit, send me a message. right? That's the stigma I want to break, right? I am this air quote larger than life character that people see. You might be in San Diego and know who I am and be like, yo, this dude's crazy. He's in my brother's podcast right now, right? Send me a fucking message, bro. I'm a human at the end of the day. And I've had this in the beginning of my career, and we'll close with this. He goes, bro, you're this badass MMA fighter. Why are you taking the time to respond to every single person on Facebook? They gave me their time. Why would I not give them that same courtesy back?
Yeah. Dude, and I get that too. People meet me and be like, oh man, can I dude, how many people are coming up to the shows like, oh, you're the dude, can I take a picture? I'm like, yeah, sure, dude, like for sure.
Absolutely.
Actually, no one asked for a picture this episode, but they were like, hey, like,
I'll take a
can
picture
I follow?
with you.
But like, can you take a picture with me, please? But I'm like, the one time I was at the gym, they're like, oh, dude, you're like over here by yourself. I thought people would be crowding you. I'm like, why?
Right.
I'm just a dude.
I'm just a human. I put my pants and
on
my
the same
shoes on
way.
the same way as everyone else.
You cut me, I bleed red. Like
Right.
there's nothing special. You know, like I appreciate
Absolutely.
that a lot. But
absolutely.
dude, you can approach me at any time and people will send me messages about episodes, what they took from it. And I'm like, this is what I wanted. We can have dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, or if you don't like something, I didn't like how you said, dude, let's talk about it. You know, I'm not the most well-versed person. Like I may say things. I speak 2 languages. Spanish was my first language. My mom don't even speak English.
Wow.
I had to learn English.
See, I didn't even know that till just right now.
Yeah, so I'll say stuff and be
Yeah.
like, oh, what'd you mean by that? I'm like, oh, this is what I meant. I'm like, oh, that's not how it came off. I bet. That's fair. That's fair. Let's have a conversation about it now.
Yeah.
And I'll entertain conversations.
And guess what? You're not too stubborn to be like, hey, I was wrong.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, fine.
My bad. I learned.
Yeah. You win or you learn.
Bam.
Boom.
That's it.
Well, bro, I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Yes.
To come on. For those of you who don't know, the Savage Gentleman. This is the one with Shane Chojnacki.
Bam.
Bam.
Look at for English, that was really good, bro.
Hey, Shane Chojnacki. Ya tu sabes.
No, let's not do that. That was too much.
Well, I appreciate you, brother.
Likewise, man.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you
Later.
so much.